Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another Oskars Aviation video. In today's Christmas special we talk about a 10-hour flight to absolutely nowhere and the pilot which held his passengers hostage. And then for the last session of this episode we move to Eastern Europe, to Krakow to be specific. So we start off with our British Airways Boeing 787, which had a 10-hour flight and somehow ended up at the same place as it took off. So this incident occurred on Wednesday and it took off from London Heathrow at 1 AM. The aircraft climbed to its cruising altitude and went heading to Mexico City, but passing Iceland just out of Greenland, the pilots announced that there was an emergency with the landing system, which is the radio altimeter to be precise, and due to Mexico City being quite a hard airport to land at, they say that they can't safely land the aircraft without that instrument. So they were 3 hours away from New York, 1 hour and a half away from Keflavik in Iceland, but the British Airways pilots did the only sensible thing and they went back to Heathrow, which no one understands, because like, you're nearly there. It was an 8-hour flight, you're halfway there and you're going back to Heathrow. I get the aspects that they've got their own engineers and stuff at Heathrow which can fix it quicker, but alternatively you're saving fuel if you go to like Keflavik or somewhere closer. So I bet the passengers weren't very happy about that. Unless you like flying, then it's a win-win because you go twice, but it wasn't some ideal planning done by British Airways, and I guess the pilots could have done better because they took off at 1 AM and they landed back at 10, which isn't ideal, and obviously you would have other ways to spend that time. So the aircraft was a Boeing 787 and it was carrying 200 passengers, and it landed back at Heathrow, and then 2 hours later it departed back again from Mexico City after the engineers had fixed it. But now moving on, we stay in the same continent as we stay in Mexico City airport this time, where a pilot held his own passengers at hostage. He said that the airline's not been paying them well enough for the past 5 months, and as a protest he said that he's not going to take the plane off until he gets his payment, which he's not been getting for 5 months, which is a fair play. I understand why he would want to do that, but then there's 180 passengers because it was a Boeing 737-800 series aircraft, so you've got 180 passengers wanting to get to the destination and you're protesting. So after an hour on actually being grounded because the pilot would just declined, it ended like all protested, and he got detained and he's in custody. We've not heard anything from that since, so he's probably not going to be flying anytime soon. Now we move back somewhere closer and we come back to Europe. So now we're in Europe, we're going to Eastern Europe to be specific, and in Poland, a city called Krakow, and the airport, which is the main bit that we're going to focus on, and the hours and hours of delays and cancelled flights due to fog. It's as simple as I can put it. It's the second biggest airport in the whole of Poland, operating there. It's not the biggest cargo, but most passengers travelling from Krakow airport, and we've got one of the worst RLS categories available, meaning half the aircraft can't land on the RLS full automatic, so it's normally visual landings for that airport. So because it's located in a valley, in the winter months when there's fog, it basically turns invisible and you have a meter of visibility and that's it. So obviously you can't land in that weather, so most of the aircraft have been redirected as on the pictures on the video, and you can see that either holding patterns and it causing 2 to 3 hour delays, and half of them trying to go to Katowice airport because they just can't land it. As you can see, there's some aircraft that have like 2 attempts to land and then just stay in the holding pattern but nothing, and this causes much more problems because Katowice has their own air traffic to control, and it just makes it harder for Katowice because then they have to send the aircraft back to Krakow to have the other flight back, so it makes everything much more difficult and complicated than it should be. But they should ideally upgrade the RLS category because it is not good enough for an airport of that size and scale to be having an RLS category that can't land aircraft if there's any fog. So I mean, there's one more holding pattern that I've saw on this at Krakow, and it's rather interesting to see what the pilots were thinking. I mean, I'm guessing they were kind of young, because it's a really interesting pattern they're trying to make with this. Like, there's 2 circles and then they just went out like quite a long way. So like, I really want to know what the pilots were trying to do there. Anyways, thank you for watching this short video. I hope you have enjoyed this weekly dose of aviation, and we'll be back either tomorrow or the day after with a live on a special Christmas quiz, which will also be another longer hopefully video about a quiz, and I'll try and do that probably sometime tomorrow afternoon hopefully. So yeah, thanks for watching. I hope you have enjoyed this video, and please make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon.